Hello, everyone. My name is Mirna, and on behalf of the Mindalia TV team, welcome to Mindalia live streaming, where thousands of people around the world gather daily to see the lectures and interviews organized by Mindalia TV. Today, with us, Angel Ribo, CEO, consultant, TV host, international public speaker, and president of the Wisdom for Kids Foundation, is going to be co hosting our show with Luz Angela Rubin. Luz Angela is an archangelic therapist, holistic wellness practitioner, among other disciplines. They are going to be interviewing Juan Ortega. Juan is an innovation expert. Before starting with them, we want to remind you that Mindalia's mission is to share information that can help raise the level of consciousness around the world, and you can help us by subscribing to our channel, leaving us a positive comment down this video, or sharing it with someone that you know that is going to benefit of the content that we're going to be developing here today. Also, while we are live streaming, we're going to have the active chat, the screen that you're going to be seeing on my side or under the video in case that you're seeing us from a smartphone. Through there, you can interact with us, entering your questions, preceded by the word question in caps. We want to also remind you that we want you to collaborate with us with your own valuable content. And for that, you're going to find the link in our website. That link is going to take you to a form that you can fill out for our technical team to be getting in contact with you. You can collaborate in English through Mindalia TV, as you already know, but you can also collaborate in Portuguese through Mindalia Televisão and in Spanish through Mindalia Televisión. Visit our different platforms, follow us on our Facebook pages, Instagram accounts, find out what we're developing there on a daily basis, and you are going to be very welcome to collaborate with our platforms. We're not going to be delaying this any further, and I'm going to be leaving you now with Angel, Luz Angela, and Juan. Guys, welcome to Mindalia live streaming. The screen is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mirna, for the introduction, and welcome back, Luz Angela. How are you?
Hi, I love Mindalia TV. It's my home. Thank you, Angel. Thank you, Mirna, and thank you, Juan Pablo, for joining us today.
No, not at all. Thank you, all of you, for having me here.
Exactly. So we have an amazing guy with us today. But before we go with him, so tell us a little bit about Juan. How did you meet Juan for the first time? Do you remember?
Of course. Juan Pablo is an amazing entrepreneur. He is a businessman who is applying the integration of mind, body, and soul into everything he does. He is the walk, congruency, coherence in the business world.
Wow, that's pretty impressive, Juan. Yeah. How do you do that?
Actually, I'm totally impressed for that introduction, actually. Thanks a lot, Luz Angela, for that introduction. Well, actually, what I'm trying to do since a long time ago is to try to connect the needs of the people of Medellin, mainly Medellin, Colombia, through helping the city to put together entrepreneurship and innovation policy in order to support a lot of people to move forward with their ideas, with their initiatives, with the new entrepreneurs, with their new companies. That's pretty much the idea, what I'm trying to do since a long time ago.
And what brought you to the entrepreneurial world? What was your journey? How did you start?
Well, things happen. It's easy to understand, looking back. I just arrived to a company that is actually owned by the municipality of Medellin that is called EPM. It's a utility company. And I was in charge of to put together what we call at that moment an incubator to support the new line of businesses for this company. But this company is owned by the municipality, by the city of Medellin. So pretty rapidly, I start to support the city, initially putting together the entrepreneurship policy. So how to support people from Medellin. Probably it's pretty well known that Medellin used to have a pretty difficult times in the final of the 80s at the beginning of the 90s. So Medellin used to be the industrial capital of Colombia. So there are a lot of industry, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people putting together new businesses. But we lost that because of narco traffic, because of all the problems that we have at that time. So we want to restart that entrepreneurial spirit. So what I made at the beginning was to support the city, putting together, okay, how we can support entrepreneurs to make their dreams true. That pretty much was the beginning. And because of that, everything connects. So at the beginning was helping the city to put together programs and capabilities, institutions that support entrepreneurship.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. And when Luz Angela was introducing you, she mentioned, body, mind, the spirit. How did you how did you walk that journey?
Well, actually, I have to say that I think that I'm just starting that journey. I understand that in order you have to take into account that everything that we are doing, we need to do it with soul. We need to try not only to gain to in order to gain money. You have to have everything of yourself put into everything what you are doing. So I start just making some meditation, starting to actually to understand how to breathe, just breathe. But I didn't know how to do it at the beginning. So it's pretty strong experience. It was a pretty strong experience for me, and trying to identify people like Luz Angela that really knows how to support you, help you to move forward, and understanding better you and your capabilities and yourself. And with that in mind, I always try to put that into in everything what I'm trying to do. That's why I moved from entrepreneurship to innovation, and then I moved to collaborative economy, because definitely I think that through collaborative economy, through collaboration, we can empower people to move forward not only with a better economic and social development, but also helping others to move forward together.
Thank you for mentioning that, Juan Pablo, because I would like to ask you, will you be sharing with us about the book that you're writing and the events that you facilitate to that empower and instill within entrepreneurs or just organizations, big and small, local and national, at different levels, because I understand that you move beyond the boundaries of the city of Medellin, Colombia. You participate in programs, you're active innovator in programs of participative economy in all America, in Europe, in different continents, and actually countries and companies all over the world consult you. And so are you putting that into your book? Or what is that you're sharing with the world?
Well, actually, as I told you before, it's easy to looking back how everything happens. So I start with entrepreneurship. Then, because of that, I won a Fulbright fellowship. So I was at MIT, studying innovation policy and management. And because of that, again, the municipality of Medellin called me. You know what? We need you in order to move forward an innovation policy for the city. We won a prize, the city, in 2013 as the most innovative city in the world. Actually, we won that prize against New York and Tel Aviv, Israel. So because of that, everything puts their eyes in Medellin. I was the CEO of the organization in charge of innovation at that time, that is Ruta N, Medellin. So I was starting to go abroad initially in Latin America, but then I went to France, to Spain, to Portugal, explaining a little bit how a city that in 1991 was known as the most dangerous city in the world could be able to win a prize as the most innovative city in the world. Just 20 years. Just in 20 years, how was the change? And taking that into account, I get in connections with an organization that is called WeShare. That organization starts in France, in Paris, but nowadays actually is in 27 countries, in more than 50 cities around the world, and it's a collaborative economy organization, network if you want. So taking, I with that, I start to understand that we really need to collaborate in order to move forward to a better world, taking into account the social impact of businesses, the environmental impact of businesses also. So I get in contact with them, and I was in an event with them in Paris. Then I was in an event with them in Rio de Janeiro. And in Rio de Janeiro in 2017, I said, you know what? We need to put together an event as an excuse for the Spanish-speaking Latin American countries. So we did that just 2 months ago in Medellin, Colabora America Medellin 2018, with participation of people of 11 countries, mainly from Latin America, but also from Europe, just working together how we can have, if you want to, businesses that make sense not only for their own owners, but also for the society and for the environment. So that's pretty much all the movement that I have in the last 15 years, probably. And I am nowadays writing a book about my experience and how to promote innovation, but also how to promote innovation with social sense, with environmental sense, that makes sense for everybody, as I already told you. Taking into account my experience in Medellin, putting together that public policy, but also my experience nowadays talking and working with people all around the world. So that's pretty much what I'm trying to do right now.
Do you think that there's something special with Medellin or with Antioquia that made you be at that place at that point in time that has allowed you to do everything that you have done?
I think there is, actually. I think there is. I think that Medellin has something that is pretty unique. And actually, I think that is because that we have that really difficult times, the rough times, that everybody put together in order to defend, if you want, the city and the society. So nowadays, we have a pretty active conversation between, local government, between companies, big ones, small ones, and SMEs also, and with universities. So all of us together has the same view of how the city should move forward. And that helps a lot, because at the end, Medellin is a medium-sized company. It's a big city. It's a 2.5 million inhabitants city. It's a 4 million inhabitants in the metropolitan area. So it's quite big, but it's still a lot of us know each other, and we trust each other, and we have the same view of how we want to have a city in the future. That helps a lot to move forward pretty rapidly. So I think that's pretty different from other cities.
Wow, that's outstanding. I felt that there was something in there. When I was going to, as I was telling you before, when I was going to Medellin, I was going to visit manufacturing companies because I had some clients, and there was a specific one that I was visiting very often. It was a large appliances company, and they were really, 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 really innovative. I visited them from 2006 until 2010. And they always were thinking out of the box. They had an incredible alliance with a worldwide appliance manufacturer. So, and when you get to Medellin, I have to tell you, you feel that you are in a very, very new city. Very new city. People are really very open. And although it's surrounded by mountains, actually, let me tell you that when I think of Medellin, it reminds me when you just gave the data of the inhabitants, the population. It's very similar to Barcelona. Barcelona has roughly 2 million and something, and with the suburban areas, it's 4 something million. So I think that we have a lot in common. Now maybe what Medellin needs is Olympic Games. What do you think?
Well, probably. Why not? We already have the South American Games a couple of years ago, and definitely I think that helps a lot to move forward the city. I study a little bit the case of Barcelona. No, actually not a little bit. I love the case of Barcelona, mainly in innovation, and mainly in a specific district that is called nowadays 22 At district. That used to be the industrial district of Barcelona, but nowadays it's a technology-based district. So we have that into account and try to apply that experience to Medellin, because we used to be, as you said, the industrial capital of Colombia, we still have a lot of industry, but we move forward to technology, to innovation. So we need to actually change the city, even from the urban side, and the mindset of the people, in order to that everybody foster this new city, if you want to, at the end. So we take into account that experiences like the Barcelona one.
Juan Pablo, how do you, based on your experience and the projects that you have been part of, how does it mix? How does it take into account to deliver the final product that you have achieved? Getting the governments to open up, to listen to the civilians, to listen to business owners, to listen to everybody, and then at the end to make a decision that benefits all?
Well, I think that there is not a unique recipe if you want to, but what we try to do since the beginning was, okay, what are the bases that we have already in Medellin? So we have some decisions from the economic point of view, from the sectors that they really want to foster, from entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship policies and programs. But also we put together with everybody, citizens, the society, universities, companies, a plan, a 10 years plan. So at that moment, we call it the Science, Innovation, and Technology Plan. It was 2011, 2021. We put it together with a huge vision. We said Medellin is going to be, at that moment, the innovation capital of Latin America. At that moment in 2011, we was the city 35. So it was a huge issue. So everybody was engaged because everybody participates and was engaged. And we put a long-time vision, but we move forward with quick wins. We need to show, especially the people for the public side, that makes sense to support entrepreneurship, innovation, and that makes sense actually nowadays to move forward with a more collaborative economy. And that's pretty much the roadmap that we put together to move forward.
And what advice or insight would you like to share with people all over the world that are watching you right now, and then that they're having issues in their own cities or their own neighborhoods or their own governments, like a national government, and that they're having challenges of different types, but how, based on your experience and knowledge, how would you address that to give them hope, that to show them that things are possible?
Well, what I think actually is that the only way to move forward huge things is starting with a small, pretty committed group of people. At the beginning, you don't have to have the leadership, or if you want to, but you really needs to have a clear vision, a huge vision, and work together and works with others with your same idea, trying to put together everything. That's the way that we always move forward. We're starting just a few people really committed, and then a lot of people starting to help us, starting to get engaged, starting to understand that makes sense. And through those quick wins that I already told you, everybody say, okay, this looks like this makes sense. Let's try to help these guys, and let's try to move forward. And then it's just starting with a few group of people, and it's rolling, and at the end, a lot of people is going to be engaged. It's the way that we always did that kind of things here.
That's beautiful.
Unity, coherence.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
How talking about the people, because at the end of the day, at Mindalia TV, we like to help people. We know that people are suffering,
Absolutely.
People are in pain, and I mean, your story is just incredible. I mean, going from the 35th to doing what you are doing today. How does, innovation is a huge word. It's a very important word, but how can making a city innovative and having a very strong policy on innovation. And you mentioned that you always think about the social side of business. So how can innovation in a city, or how can making a city more innovative make the people live better?
Well, you definitely need to engage people in this endeavor. So at the end, what we did since the beginning is that we work with the people, we work with communities, we work with social uh, initiatives that we already have in place at the beginning. We promote, that new initiatives from society, from people, from neighborhoods, starts. The people that really knows the people really knows what their pains are. So and they have an idea on how they can overcome those challenges. So what we try to do is to support them, helping them, connect them with others, with other, if we want to, other cities, other neighborhoods, other societies that could have the same kind of issues. So and help them in that. At the end, they can do it by themselves. We just support. We put together the support, but they are doing it by themselves. So when you think that what you feel that what the government, what the institutions that are helping you, you really wants to move forward.
How did you? Because you mentioned before that you had worked together. I would love. I mean, we interviewed recently Luz Angela, and 1 hour wasn't enough given her wisdom. It was like, there's so many things we can talk about with her. So I would like you really to share because again, there's a lot of people that are small businessmen that they have maybe their small business, or they're just self-employed, and they consider them, like being businessmen, although it's only themselves. So how can you both talk about how to conduct your business from a more mindful way? If that's the right question to ask. Obviously, Luz Angela knows that better than me, so I'm just asking the question here. Go ahead, any of you.
Luza, please.
Okay, so I would like to tie that question, Angel, to your first question when you ask how Juan Pablo and I met. So it is beautiful because Juan Pablo mentioned earlier that he realized that to achieve anything in life, you have to have a purpose. You have to have a purpose, but there's not a purpose for the ego. For what we were talking in the interview earlier, it's not about a purpose, a fulfillment for the mind, but there is a fulfillment, a social. It's a bigger purpose for your environment, for your city, for your family, for the planet as a whole. So what Juan Pablo does is a unique way to express the light of the creator, because we live in the physical world and we need physical means that they're effective, that they inspire humans to fulfill, to pursue, to honor, to respond, to listen to their higher calling, their higher self. So what Juan Pablo does is that we met in one of the events that I facilitate, but the Juan Pablo is being very actively involved in the study of himself as a human being, knowing what are his talents, what are his gifts, what are his abilities, and what it is that the life is showing him that he needs to transform, and how he can use all those talents to help others. So he hasn't talked about his social contribution, but he's also very charitable. He works with teams of people to make the lives of other people that they don't have many resources to get a more dignified survival, to put it that way. And then at the end of the day, everything that we do, either art, spiritual, any kind of the phases of this spiritual, this life here on earth, it has an imprint of a spirit, because that's what we are. We are energy, we are spirit in essence. But what am I here and us individually are to contribute. So that's why I admire Juan Pablo so much, and I admire you, Angel, so much, because you, both of you, what you do here is just like you come and look at yourselves and say, okay, what am I good at? Okay, I am good at this, and then I'm going to express all my goodness to help others. And as I express my gifts, I help others do the same, and then it expands like a wave. You help yourselves, discover your talents, have the courage to move forward, to believe in yourselves, to pass all those challenges, to keep the trust within, and do what it is needed in this physical world to support those that they don't trust themselves. And eventually you touch those hearts, and then they touch other hearts because of the input that you gave them, you share with them. So that's what you two do, Angel and Juan Pablo. And so Angel is also very charitable. He is a very successful businessman that he has a very important influence in the business world, I mean, globally, thank God. And he invests his resources in helping kids to become independent, empowered. And Juan Pablo does the same thing. Juan Pablo is using all his talents to say, hey, we don't have to wait for someone to come and do it for us. We don't have to wait for someone to come and say, do things this way. Oh, you want a better city? Oh, then yes, stay here and keep complaining about the violence or whatever situation is in your city. No, you know what? I love this city. I love living here. I want to continue living here, not in this condition. I have these gifts. I know these people that they have amazing gifts too. Let's get together and let's put our talents and our resources into play of how we're going to help this place, this society evolve for the highest good of all. So this is how I see it. And this is like, for me, when Angel invited me to be part of this, like a co-hosting this event, and I said, Juan Pablo, yes, Juan Pablo, because it's different from what I do. Like I do a different area than Juan Pablo does, than what Angel does. But it is so important, because what Juan Pablo is doing, actually both of you, if you look at yourselves, your backgrounds, Angel is working with the kids to help them become like Juan Pablo. Yeah. Independent. And I said, you know what? Trust yourself. See what are your talents, and you can do it. And I love what Juan Pablo said earlier. That is, unity is like synergy. Is synergy. Is trusting and being persistent, committed to a cause, not for this group, but beyond the boundaries of everything that is possible. And when I see that governments are getting involved, are listening to, that is a great sign, because the energies of these new kids are towards that. Like it's not to continue doing as we've been doing for centuries, but what can we do differently? The technology is different. Everything has evolved. So how can we do? And how can we do it together? And how can we do it collaboratively, like Juan Pablo? So
Thank you.
I extended a little bit, but I get so excited
no.
with you. I mean,
It's all
with
good.
you too.
No. It's not. It's not long at all. I mean, thank you very much. You know both of us, and obviously, I appreciate very much accepting the challenge and being here with us today. By the way, my apologies, Juan. I had to silence your microphone for a while just because there was some background noise, and I didn't want to. So sorry about that.
No, absolutely. Actually, I live in a small farm, so probably it was my dog.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I love that you live in a farm. That's a blessing. That's a real blessing.
Absolutely. Yeah. I
Oh
have
my
to tell
God.
you.
Fantastic. So, I mean, thank you very much for your words, Luz Angela, and yeah.
I just want to add
Please,
something. I
please,
think that
of course.
I cannot say it better than Luz Angela, but I just want to add, put in a couple of examples in the way that I'm trying to to support people that actually has something to show, something to have a better situation for themselves, for their environment, for the city, or for the world. The first one, as I already told you, I live in a small farm near a pretty small town called El Retiro. This is probably around 1 hour driving from Medellin. And here I am part of the board of directors of an organization that is actually has a pretty beautiful name. In Spanish, it's Laboratorio del Espíritu, so the Spirit Lab. But actually, it's an organization that starts as a public rural library, so a library for kids, mainly for kids in the rural area of this small town that actually in the past have a lot of problems with violence. Uh, so they started support these actually supporting these rural kids, people from the rural areas, kids and families, and nowadays also uh, elderly people. And the idea is that they give them, the tools, the connections in order that they can explode their creativity, their the capability to move forward big things. And I think that that institution in a small town, actually in a rural area of a small town, is making the difference, not only for these kids, but through them to their families and to society in general. So that's one approach. I really believe that we need to work with kids. I really believe that if you do it in an area that actually used to have a lot of problems, actually in the rural areas, for example, you are it's a bless just to participate in that kind of endeavor. So that's one example in the way that I'm trying to support things. And the other one, I think that I have a lot of challenges, personal and, and professionally, but I think that I do something quite well, is connect things, connect people. I have the capability to connect things. So in that event that we have a couple of months ago, Colabora America Medellin, that we have people from 7 countries of Latin America, we start at the end of the event, we start a new community, what we call the Community of Collaborative Cities of the South. Why we call it the South? Because we want that initially Latin America, and nowadays we are working with people from 6 countries of Latin America, but then also Africa. So we initially start to have some conversations with people in South Africa, Senegal, and Egypt, because we think that the south of the world has a lot to say in how to collaborate. We are a pretty collaborative people. We collaborate for party and for probably for cultural issues, but we have that gene if we want to. So we want to study, we want to connect, we want to understand uh, how collaboration in Latin America, in Africa, in the South could help us to actually gives the world better tools in order how to collaboration and synergy will help us to have a better world. So we are working on that, and we are really excited. It's just starting, but a lot of effort, a lot of people is involved, and we feel that it's going to be something that makes sense for the world, actually.
Wow, now I understand why Luz Angela was so sure about what she was saying about both of us. Yeah, we share. It's incredible the things that we share, and definitely the future of this world is of the kids, and kids have to be a priority. They must be a priority for us. So the more we do for them, and the sooner we do it, the better, and we see the results in their communities and in their family.
Absolutely.
As you said very well. So when you let's go down this path, because I think there's a reason why we're talking about this today. When you work with these kids in these areas, in these rural areas, have you also tried to work from this spiritual world realm when you work with them? Have you tried to do that?
Actually, my initial collaboration with these organizations uh, was actually I am part of an organization that is called the Art of Living. So it's worldwide known. So they're pretty much everywhere. So with them, I take some courses in how to breathe and how to you want to meditate and get into yourself. So my initial collaboration with this organization was actually with the support of the Art of Living. So we made a course actually for the elderly peoples, the elderly rural people in this organization, and it was just incredible. The way that they understand how breathe, how how to meditate is helping them to be more centered, to actually to be happier. So we start with elderlies, and we are doing something nowadays also with kids, and they respond. They love what we are doing. We help them with some courses about how to breathe and that, and it's changing life. I think that it's changing life just to understand yourself. Your inner force, if you want to make the difference for this community.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, we when we started thinking about how to help kids, spirituality immediately came into our mind, and yeah, I mean, we decided actually to incorporate meditation, and it's amazing how natural kids are with meditation.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're natural. I mean, we don't have to make a lot of effort to have them really experience deeply a meditation. They're just natural. So, I mean, sometimes I think we start at kids of 7 years of age with our foundation, and sometimes we think, I wish that we could start with younger kids, so that we were still at that place in which we could make like a larger impact in their future. And you were talking about limiting beliefs, and I think that everyone, all us three here, we are in this world to help people probably overcome their limiting beliefs in different ways.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's a big thing. And obviously your story has given a lot of hope in an area that was full of limiting beliefs, like full. Is there any story that comes to your mind of changes that have happened in Medellin since you started to work with innovation? Something like from the social aspect of it or business aspect of it, something that you would like to share with the audience?
Well, actually, I think that there are a lot of a really interesting experience, but I think that actually what happens, what the most important part was that we worked since the beginning in what we call innovation culture. So we want that people believes that a city like Medellin in Colombia could be an innovative city, could be, could work in economic development using innovation. So we work with communities, trying to change their mindset. And what we get at the end was not only that our own people, the people from Medellin, actually nowadays believes that it's possible, but they are doing it. They're starting a lot of new companies based in Medellin, supporting businesses, different kind of businesses, technology-based businesses all around the world. That's one issue. But the other one actually was that the rest of the world believes in Medellin nowadays. So we started this at that time also a program that we called Landing. Uh, that landing program, the initial idea, that was before all the co-workings and the thing that nowadays are pretty common. Uh, the idea was, Medellin could be the place in order that you can move forward during your innovation efforts, no matter what from which country are your company. And nowadays we have in Medellin around 150 companies from 35 countries from all around the world, having more than 5,000 people, highly qualified people working in different innovative fields for the world. So at the end, just with the change of mindset, everything changed. And the rest of the world actually see it because they start to believe in you and believe in what you are doing and wants to be part of actually. So it was quite interesting that happened.
Being catalyst for change.
Yeah, it's just to believe in yourself, believe in the capabilities that it is able, that huge, you went to that huge vision is possible. As I already told you, I studied for a year innovation policy at MIT. So I used to be an engineer, and for an engineer, study at MIT is like a dream, and it was a dream for me. So a lot of people actually, when I came back to Medellin, asked me, okay, what do you learn at MIT? And I found a phrase that actually I think that actually is the best way to explain it. I told everybody I learned that for us, this town is the world, and for them, the world is a town. They have a huge vision. So let's try to move forward with huge vision. At the end, it's the same amount of effort just to have a small vision than a big one. So let's move forward with a big one. Why not? and that makes a lot of sense. And I think that Medellin's always thinks big, and that's the difference. I think so.
That's beautiful. We have to wrap it up now, right now. So, Juan Pablo, it's been an amazing conversation. Really, thank you very much for taking your time, for being with us. Really, this is your family. This is the place to be for you moving forward. So anything that you need from Mindalia TV or from us, we are here for you and to serve you. And to serve your mission, really.
No, thank you for having me. Thank you for your effort, what you are doing for the world. Luz Angela is just an angel. So I love you. Thanks a lot.
She's an archangel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. So incredible guest that you brought in today. So Luz Angela, amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much for doing this today. Thank you.
Thank you to Mindalia. Thank you, Angel, for opening to this opportunity. Juan Pablo is a big catalyst for change in this world, and we bless you. Thank you so much for everything you're doing. Thank you for listening to your heart. And then before we end this interaction, I just want to tell you the kind of person Juan Pablo is. He took not long ago his car, his kid, and his two other kids, a nephew and a niece, and took a road trip to Brazil from Medellin to Brazil, not knowing the road, not knowing the country very well, with 3 teenagers. And that's the person that Juan Pablo is. So it's a person that you can trust. It's a person that he's open to listen. He's open to enjoy. He's open to listening to the needs, and not the individual needs, but the needs of the collective, the needs of the planet. And I bless you, and I am grateful for everything that you are doing, Juan Pablo. Thank you for being here, for answering this call. Thank you, Angel. Thank you, Mindalia. Thank you, Mirna. And my blessings to all of you.
Excellent. Thank you. Please. Thank you very much. So again, this is Angel Ribo with Mindalia TV. Thank you very much for being with us today. It's been an amazing conversation with Luz Angela, with Juan Pablo, and we'll be here with you again next Monday with Luz Angela and another incredible, guest. And thank you very much for being with us today. I hope you have enjoyed the conversation as much as we have. We really hope to see you soon. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.